Welcome back to episode 2 of the Squad Squad podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Mark, and today we're going to talk about Bigfoot. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. And today we got our local Bigfoot expert here, Jordan, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot and whether we believe that there is an actual existence of Bigfoot or not. I do believe that there possibly could be.
No.
With all the creatures in the world that have been undiscovered so far, why couldn't there be a Bigfoot?
You're going to tell me, the person that lives in the sticks of Appalachia, in the middle of the woods.
You ain't never had no cousins or brothers or aunts or uncles who have ever seen Bigfoot?
No.
Or claimed to see Bigfoot?
No, you can't see what doesn't exist.
But you can't. How do you not prove that Bigfoot can exist?
How many photos have you saw of Bigfoot?
There's tons of photos.
No,
There's tons of photos, tons of video evidence
a man
online.
in a costume running through the woods that you can clearly tell is a costume. How many actual pictures of Bigfoot that you can even remotely determine that's not edited?
But there's also evidence that footprints and hair follicles that have been collected and things like that people claim are Bigfoot.
Oh, you mean a foot that's been made into the mud and somebody picked it up and said, Bigfoot?
But why can't that actually be a Bigfoot? How else do you prove that? You think people are just going around and making footprints in the mud?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of people that do that. Look at all the
yeah,
fake
but who's going to take their time
series
to actually make a Bigfoot mold and go out into the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere and stamp it in the ground and just hope somebody wanders up across it?
For money. What's your take on the Bigfoot?
I feel like Bigfoot could definitely exist. I feel like there's a lot of facts too.
What's your facts?
Well, like Mark said about the footprints, I mean, no one's just going to randomly stroll out in the woods and just stamp a footprint in the middle of nowhere with no sign of life besides.
For enough money.
Because the odds of somebody just doing that and then somebody else just happening upon that in the middle of the woods, like you said, in the middle of the mountains of Appalachia, that's just going to occur.
And you got miles and miles of forest and a very elusive creature. I feel like it's not going to be easy to stumble upon.
Yeah, and you said you spent years in these mountains, but how much of these mountains have you actually went and wandered around?
I mean, you think all the people hunting, fishing, roaming through the woods, by some point you think
but
someone
most
would
of your
shot
hunters
a
and
Bigfoot?
fishermen just don't wander that far off the beaten path. I mean, and they've done it for years, so you don't think like an animal could eventually figure out their patterns and figure out that's where they need to stay. I mean, honestly, how many times have you walked into the woods in the middle of the night and just heard weird shit?
I mean, I usually don't just take a stroll through the woods in the middle of the night just for no reason.
Are you scared of something?
Just,
like a Bigfoot or something?
No, more like coyotes or mountain lions. But yeah.
Like coyotes are real?
Okay. Oh, here's a picture of your so-called Bigfoot. Yeah. Definitely a dude standing on top of a hill. Yeah, definitely a Bigfoot. This is the most convincing. It says top 10 most convincing photos of Bigfoot ever made.
Yeah, looks pretty convincing to me.
That looks like if I ran over there on the top of your hill and stood.
Yeah, but that looks way bigger than
let's pull up number 2.
Human.
Oh, that doesn't look like that's a fake footprint. Fake footprint.
Who's wandering up into the mountains in the middle of a snowstorm just to make a fake footprint?
People who like money. I would do
How
that.
do you gain money for faking Bigfoot?
You make a 30-season TV show out of it. Like they already did.
But what about the people that they find in the TV show that has actually experienced seeing Bigfoot?
You mean they heard a knock on a tree and was like, oh my god, Bigfoot?
No, I mean, like, there's some that's actually seen through their windows him run across their porch or deck or something. And
It was just a really tall crackhead.
I mean,
but your argument, like last week, was that all that video evidence and stuff is basically proof because you can't disprove the moon landing. But you also can't disprove the existence of Bigfoot.
That's true, but also you're going from something out of space, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away on planets and space that no one has discovered. So you can't be 100% sure about any of those things. But we all live on a world where Bigfoot is supposedly supposed to exist, and no one's ever made an encounter with him besides the people that took those terrible photos.
But there's also theories out there that, like, once you stumble upon a Bigfoot, that it also can shapeshift and turn into other creatures. And that's how they get away from you.
That's a Wendigo, not a Bigfoot.
No, there's Bigfoot. People have said that that's the way Bigfoot stays hidden.
I think Jordan has a pretty good story about a Bigfoot. Do you want to share that with everyone? Your Bigfoot story that you read? The lady?
Oh, yeah. So supposedly there was this lady, she was camping, and she come back home and found out she was pregnant. And the Bigfoot supposedly had broke into the campsite.
Did she ever?
I have no idea.
The baby? What does the baby look like at this
I have no
point?
idea.
The question is she still with her boyfriend, who she tried to convince?
I don't know. Well, yeah, apparently he believed it, like wholeheartedly. So,
He was also cheating.
Yeah, maybe. There is a lot of evidence of the Bigfoot, though.
Like the terrible photos we all just saw.
No, not just terrible photos.
Let's research
things
just look up
crossing the road in the middle
of how many
of the
people
night.
have actually.
How many people have saw Bigfoot? Oh, here's the top 9 states with the most Bigfoot sightings. Bigfoots live in forest. Here we go. Washington, number 1, with 676 sightings a year.
A year?
Yeah.
It's a year.
But we got to determine, is this Washington
So
State
you're
or
saying
Washington,
that there's
DC?
667 people in Washington that are just liars each year?
Well, there's about 1 million liars in Washington, D.C. So we got to determine if this is Washington State or Washington, D.C.
Washington State.
Well, it's telling different counties here too, so yeah, I guess it is Washington State. Oh, number 2 is California,
Which
445.
is right next to Washington State.
Florida with 328, Ohio with 302, Illinois with 296, Oregon 254, Texas 246, Michigan 220, and Missouri with 154.
But aside from the sightings, how do you disprove all the other evidence, like the hair follicles and stuff?
I don't think there's ever been a single hair follicle.
Yeah, and they can't attach it to any animal alive.
8 in 1,000 people saw that in Washington.
8 in 1,000.
Every 8 people out of 1,000 or 100,000 says they made a sighting.
Exactly. But
mean,
to you, they're just all
very,
liars.
There's not very big numbers.
I mean, it's quite a bit for something that supposedly has never existed.
Let's see. Hair follicles of Bigfoot.
But you can't. That's what I'm saying. Is they found all these hair follicles and they can't attach it to any animal that's alive right now. So how do you explain that?
The first Bigfoot follicle was discovered in 1976, requested by the FBI. There's number 1 key that it's faked. They never say anything that's true.
Oh, is that your argument?
It's a lot of reading. Okay. Prove to me it's real.
But that goes back on to last week's podcast. You can't tell me it's not real and then not give me your take on it. Other than it could be someone else's hair when they've tested it and it's not been other things' hair.
I mean, yeah. But But let's look up some stories of some sightings and see if it just sounds remotely believable from someone.
They're all believable. Just because it's something you don't believe in doesn't mean it's half the population in America doesn't believe in it.
Half the population? 8 out of 100,000 people?
Just in Washington State.
Yeah, it's even less than everything else.
That's just sightings. That's not people who believe in it, though.
We'll look at the statistics for people believe in Bigfoot. 11% of the United States population believe in Bigfoot. That is very low numbers.
Yeah, but you gotta also think most of the populated areas are cities, not around forests.
My point. So why don't you think just one day you'd randomly just see Bigfoot strolling through through the city of New York, just chilling?
Because he stays away from people.
Does he? Have you saw Bigfoot? Do you know that? Have you talked to him? Does he just like, no,
but
I don't like going into cities?
The reason I haven't seen him is because he hides from people. So he's not going to just wander into one of the most populated cities in America just to stroll around. If he wants to stay hidden and live out his life hidden.
But you think in all these people that say they saw him, no one's got a legitimate picture that you can tell anything about, that has any details in it? Out of all these people.
I mean, if you saw a deer running through the woods, how hard would it be just to hurry up and grab your phone and take a quick picture of it before it was gone?
I have all kinds of pictures of deer.
Yeah, deer that
they just stand in my backyard.
Because deer will run out in front of cars like idiots and just get hit.
Brings me to point number 2. Why has Bigfoot never been hit by a car?
Because he stays away from people.
He just never wanders across a road?
When he does, people are there and people take pictures. That's where you get the shaky video evidence and everything like that of Bigfoot.
No, the number 1 Bigfoot picture in the world was the one that I just showed. It said the best evidence of a picture ever recorded.
I'm pretty sure there has been cases of people actually hitting things that they thought were Bigfoot and it be gone.
Or Bigfoot. Really, they just hit a very hairy man.
Well, I mean, it was dark.
Very hairy man? What are the odds of Bigfoot wandering streets or just a giant hairy man that looks nothing like a human wandering streets?
Plus, he's like
very
10
more
foot
likely
tall,
than.
So.
That's fine. He's a very hairy basketball player.
I don't see it.
We're talking to the expert here.
Yeah, expert. Spit facts. What we got?
All the facts. Let's see. I mean, Mark covered quite a few of the facts already. There has been a lot of sightings. There has been video, photo. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's been people that's hit things in the middle of the night.
I've hit things in the middle of the night. Deer.
Yeah, but you usually
Squirrels.
know it's a deer, not something that's 10 foot tall and looks like basically a gorilla just strolling across the road.
I mean, if you were to happen just to be driving down the road and hit something that remotely looked like Bigfoot, what would you think it'd be?
A very hairy man.
I'm
not gonna be like, this is Bigfoot until I see dead Bigfoot laying there.
But if it took off and ran because it didn't get hurt that bad, because there's been times that people have hit deer and they just get up and run away.
I mean, yeah, maybe if I.
So you don't think something 4
car,
times the size of a deer, you could hit it on accident and it take off before you could tell what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I hit something in the middle of the night, got out of my car, and here was 10 foot tall gorilla man running down the middle of the road, I'd probably be like,
But how would you tell? Like, if it's already gone by the time you get out of your car, how are you going to tell that's what it is?
Then okay, that's my point. Then if that happened and it's always running or out of the way, how have these people ever been like, oh, I just hit Bigfoot?
But if I was driving down the road and I accidentally hit something that looked remotely like a Bigfoot, I would have been like, man, I just hit Bigfoot. I wouldn't be like, oh, it was just a hairy man. Like, that's not my first thing I would go to.
That's more believable.
Is it?
Yes.
Doesn't sound very believable to me.
I mean,
okay, so what happened? What happened to you tonight on your car ride home? But we see that your car is completely destroyed. What happened to you tonight?
I'd be like, I'm pretty sure I hit a Bigfoot. It looked like a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I stopped. There
Yeah.
wasn't a hairy man laying on the
Yeah,
side of the road.
yeah,
I hit
yeah.
something. It took off. Looked a lot like a Bigfoot.
Yeah, he needs an ambulance. He has no idea what he's talking about right now. or I hit a person. Oh, okay. Now I believe you. A very hairy person. Nobody's gonna believe you when you say you hit Bigfoot.
If I were to hit a very hairy person and take off, I think there'd be police action involved.
Yeah, and most humans that's going to get hit by a vehicle ain't just going to get up and like just stroll away before you can even get out of the
It
car.
would take something 2 times or 3 times the size of a human to be able to take an impact like that and be able to just get up and walk away from it.
I don't know. I saw deer get hit at like 90 mile an hour and just destroy your car and then get up and walk away like nothing happened.
The deer are like rubber though, so we can't count those.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's basically the size of a grizzly bear. I don't
But walks
feel-
on 2 legs. Yeah, that's believable.
Well, I mean, grizzly bears do it.
For how long?
I guess as long as they want to. Have you ever recorded the longest grizzly bear walk?
Maybe that'll be next week. I don't know.
But you can't say that they're just like hitting something at night without being able to see it.
No, I'm saying like your point was that they saw it when they hit it, but then you turn
Yeah, you
around
catch a
and,
glimpse of it.
yeah, but then
Like
you
if
turn
I were
around
to
and
catch
say
a glimpse of a deer before I hit it, I'd be like, oh, I just hit a deer because that pretty much
So
looked like a deer.
your mind, when you hit something that big, 6, 7, 8, whatever, 10 foot tall they are, in the middle of the night, your first instinct was, I just hit Bigfoot.
Yeah, because what else is
You
10
catch a
foot
glimpse-
tall?
You don't even
It
like
looks
think
like
twice
a hairy
that
man
there could possibly
walking in
be
the middle of the
something-
road.
Your first thought is that it could possibly be something else you shoot.
What? That's
straight
the
to I
thing
hit
is, what
Bigfoot.
else would it be? What else fits those statistics?
Like I said, I would definitely go to I hit a hairy person or
You hit a just random hairy man that was 10 foot tall in the middle of the road in the middle of the night.
yes, because if you told anyone else that you saw Bigfoot, they're gonna think you're crazy.
I feel like they would think you were crazy too if you're like, I just hit a
But if
10, 12 foot tall man.
exactly, and if you were to go and say, I just hit a 10 foot tall hairy man in the middle of the road, people would be like,
First off,
that was probably Bigfoot.
we need to see how tall Bigfoot is.
Bigfoot probably 8 to 10 foot tall on average. Yeah,
Hold on.
I was right. That's why he gets
Oh,
very
oh,
quiet
okay.
and very into detail
Okay,
when
so
I'm right.
so,
When he looks something up.
maybe it says Bigfoot could be 6 foot tall. Could be a person, but it says as far as the sightings, people have said Bigfoot can be anywhere from 6 foot to 15 foot tall. Maybe if I saw a 15 foot person run across the road in front of me, then I would say it was Bigfoot.
I would be very concerned if you wouldn't think it was a Bigfoot and you hit a 10 foot tall person. There is no animal that's going to be walking on 2 legs running across the road that's 10 foot tall.
And I feel like for the most part, the reason most of the sightings and stuff are at night and kind of not clear is I feel like it's more of a nocturnal.
Yeah, it's a nocturnal animal that
Yeah,
likes
I mean,
to
it's
be
gonna,
hidden. So the best time to hide is going to be at night.
Yeah, it's going to hide and conceal
Yeah,
identity.
but back
during
to all
the
the
day.
people that hunt, fish, hike, do all these things. You're going to tell me that not a single hunter has ever decided to shoot at what they may think is a Bigfoot?
How do you
Nobody's
know
ever-
Bigfoot doesn't have like the skin of like 3-inch thick skin and that bullet impact ain't going to do nothing on it?
Okay, but you don't think they've ever that if Bigfoot existed, nobody's ever found a dead Bigfoot anywhere just from if bullets don't kill it, then natural things.
But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Is like people also say that Bigfoot can morph into other animals. So how do you know, like right before death, they don't just like morph into a deer and then die like that?
Yeah, because I mean, apparently, according to the sightings and stuff, there's multiple in different areas, so there seems to be more than just one. So, I mean, it's not going to just lay down and die and give up.
Or how do you know they're not like us, that they want to, bury their dead? Like once one dies,
Oh, you're right. Bigfoot just went over here and grabbed Bigfoot Jr. and pulled a shovel out and just dug him a little grave and threw him in it.
well, if you're a 10 foot tall animal, I'm sure you can figure out a different way to dig a hole than a shovel. I mean, I could dig a hole just with my bare hands in enough time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you basically are looking at something that has pretty much 2 shovels because of how big its hands is anyway. probably extremely thick nails. I mean, it's pretty much hands as pickaxes.
And who knows how strong they actually are. I mean, look at the size of a grizzly bear and how strong they are. And they're bigger than grizzly bears and different kinds of bears. So
now we need to know the weight of a Bigfoot.
Much larger than a grizzly bear.
Yeah, I would feel like at least 1,000
No, I'd
to
say
1,500
I'd
pounds.
say 300 if they exist.
300? There's 6 foot tall people who are 300 pounds. You don't think something 10 foot tall and twice as wide is going to be more than 300 pounds?
We shall see. Hold on. Bigfoot is a large, hairy, human-like creature. 15 foot tall. Typically in North America and the Arctic Circle.
Those are Yetis.
That's almost
That's a whole different podcast.
If Bigfoot exists, Yetis and Bigfoots are the exact same thing.
But are they?
Yeah, one's white, albino. Don't know the weight on Bigfoot. You know why we don't know the weight on Bigfoot? Because no one's ever saw one.
Well, it's because no one's ever put down a scale and was
Oh,
like,
here
hey,
we go.
Bigfoot, can you step on the scale?
Archaeologists have assumed that Bigfoot's height is anywhere from 6'10" and weighs 500 to 1,000 pounds. With broad shoulders, muscular chest, long, powerful arms, its hair is said to be dark brown or black.
And you don't think that thing could just bend over and dig a hole in minutes?
Known to produce a very foul odor.
I've walked through the woods multiple times and smelled weird stuff.
It smelled like death, and you can't find anything dead.
No, it smelled like deer poop.
Yeah, I don't
I've
think.
never smelled deer poop.
You ever smelled Bigfoot poop?
No.
So is no one else.
Actually, they have found what they thought was Bigfoot poop. That didn't match up. Kind of like the hair.
Yeah, they can't attach it to any other animal. So, I mean, how do you explain things like that?
I mean, I guess you don't. But you think out of all this big world with all these people, someone would have better proof than terrible pictures and people's stories. I mean, a lady said she got pregnant by Bigfoot. Did that baby come out looking like Bigfoot?
We don't know.
I don't know. I mean, the story was just a while back.
There's
Like,
also people that
a
claim
month
that they
ago.
have babies with celebrities, and it doesn't end up being true.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove the non-existence of Bigfoot. That just proves that lady is a liar.
Yeah.
What if he's an intelligent creature and the government actually just helps hide him from
Just like the aliens.
Could be.
possibly?
Could be something that could destroy our humanity, and the government just wants to hide it from us.
That's more possible.
Or maybe they're kind of one and the same.
Or
not.
there
Aliens are
could
Bigfoots.
be 100%.
Aliens could be Bigfoots.
It's possible.
It is possible. Aliens also don't exist. We discussed that last week. But anyway.
Yeah, but we can dig more into aliens into a later podcast. Because that could be a whole podcast in itself.
It could.
So I guess this is where we'll end this one. And
But I don't know what I was going to say. Continue.
I said, I guess this is where we'll end this one. And we'll see
Bigfoot's
y'all
not
next
real.
week.